too easy and too hard, there's a sweet spot between those things where we're in the challenge/adventure zone. Because if it's too easy, you get bored, you don't really feel like it's working, all that stuff. If it's too hard, you're like, okay, great, I'm sure this is working, but I don't want to do this. Assalamu alaikum. A lot of people have asked me, how do you stay consistent when it comes to your fitness, your nutrition, your exercise, all that stuff? And if you've been wondering the same thing for yourself, where the biggest struggle that you have is the fact that you can't stay consistent with your nutrition, your training, you always get busy with work, or maybe you burn out on the diet, or maybe you just don't like being sore after you go to the gym, or it takes too much time, I'm going to fix all of those issues for you today with a very interesting presentation that I have for you today that is some of my best stuff. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to dive into the slideshow that I have for you guys today. And we're going to talk about how to stay consistent with your fitness and basically guarantee that you're able to stay consistent for the rest of your life. And the interesting mental psychological flip is by learning how to not be consistent, we can actually dive into what is going to help you to be the most consistent. So here's the interesting thing about this whole psychological paradigm, the power of reversal and opposites. The human mind is super, super good at getting clear on how to not do something, but sometimes we can struggle and overthink about how is the best way to do something, right? So if you can hack this and get clear on exactly what not to do if you want to be consistent, well, all you have to do is get the opposite of what that is, and that's exactly how to be consistent. So what you're going to see is I'm going to give you guys like the solutions and how to be consistent, like when it comes to nutrition, exercise, lifestyle, all that stuff. But first off, we have to get clear on how to not be consistent. So let's go through some of these obvious points. If you want to guarantee that it's impossible for you to stay consistent, that you're going to struggle with consistency for the rest of your life, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you set up a nutrition plan that you can't stick to, okay? So like you have to make sure the food tastes bad, it's bland, it's dry, it's nasty, it's gross. You have to make sure that you have no room for your favorite food. It's super, super strict and you literally can't fit anything delicious into your diet. You have to say no at family functions. And you know, when your mom or your wife says, hey, look, I made you something, you have to say, no, I can only eat bland, boring food with not even salt. Yeah, okay, great. You're never going to be able to stay consistent if you can't even put salt on your food, let alone some of our favorite seasonings. If you're Pakistani, you probably like putting a lot of curry powder, tandoori masala, a lot of different things. If you're Middle Eastern, maybe, you know, adding a little bit of shawarma powder to your food or even a lot of it would actually make a huge difference. And guess what? It doesn't add any calories, so it doesn't even matter. But if you want to make sure that you can't stay consistent, make sure that your food tastes terrible, it's dry, it's nasty, it's gross, and that you hate it, okay? Again, if you want to make sure that you can't stay consistent, make sure that you crash your metabolism and sabotage your long-term progress. That'll definitely make it impossible for you to stay consistent. Make sure you burn yourself out. Make sure that your diet makes you crave unhealthy foods. Make sure that you set up a nutrition plan that doesn't work with your schedule. Make sure that it's hard to prep, super inconvenient. Make sure that the diet kills your energy levels. So like cut out carbs, cut out all the things that give you energy, and just only have foods that like kill your energy levels. Make sure that the meal plan is like, you know, makes you feel hungry. It makes you feel like crap. Make sure it's hard to maintain. Make sure it doesn't work and doesn't get you the results. That way you also lose motivation so that we can really make sure you don't stay consistent. And then make sure that, you know, you don't customize it to the foods that you like, and make sure that the menu is something that your family doesn't want to eat, so that you have to eat separate meals from the family. Now, before we dive into the solutions, which is basically just the opposite of all those things, does any of that sound familiar? Have you ever been on a diet that killed your energy levels, made you hungry, made you crave a bunch of junk food, only to find that you just rebounded and gained all the way back? Well, if that's the case, those are the reasons why. That's how you guarantee how you can not stay consistent. So is it any wonder why you struggle with consistency if that's you when it comes to nutrition? And maybe nutrition is easy for you. We're going to go into the things about mindset, lifestyle, exercise, and of course the solutions. So let's dive into the solution here. So here's how to be consistent with your nutrition, aka the opposite of not. So instead of creating a meal plan that's hard to stick to, create a meal plan that's super easy to stick to. Instead of making food that tastes bad, bland, dry, nasty, gross, create amazing food that's tender and flavorful that you actually look forward to eating. Revolutionary concept, right? Instead of making it so you don't have any room for your favorite foods, why don't you make it so you have room for some cheat meals and you have healthy, delicious recipes every single day so that you actually enjoy what you're eating and you look forward to the food. Well, that's going to help you to stay super consistent, right? Make sure that instead of crashing your metabolism, you speed up your metabolism, which helps you see long-term progress and maintenance. Instead of burning yourself out on the diet, make sure that it motivates you to do more because you're getting results and you're enjoying the process. Instead of craving unhealthy foods, why don't you actually set it up so that you fulfill your cravings in a healthy way? Instead of setting it up so it doesn't work with your schedule, set it up so it works around your schedule and your lifestyle. Instead of making it super hard and inconvenient to prep, make it easy and simple to prep with convenience and a solid process that works with your schedule. Instead of killing your energy levels, why don't you work on increasing your energy levels, which again, you know, for some people, complex carbs work best for this. For other people, medium chain triglycerides work best for this. And I talk about this in other videos, so make sure to check out my other videos after this where I explain how, you know, different types of fats can be used by your body for energy versus other fats weigh you down. And then obviously, you know, stuff on complex carbs, which is simple carbs, keeping your blood sugar stable, and ultimately how that helps you to maximize your energy and health as well. Got plenty of content on that, so check that out after this. because obviously in order for you to be able to implement my other stuff, you need to be able to stay consistent, which is why I'm doing this video, because I know that about 80% of people, like literally, I have a little survey for everybody who comes in and takes my little fitness quiz and, you know, my ads and my, some of my content pieces where I have a little fitness quiz, and literally like I think 79% of the responses or 71% or something like around 80-ish% of people put staying consistent as their biggest issue over nutrition or exercise, because it kind of encompasses both. And then for a lot of people, the issue is all three, right? But yeah, so like check that out after this. All right. If the nutrition plan makes you feel hungry or bloated, I forgot to put that in there, but if it makes you feel bloated as well, to solve the bloating problem, we need to make sure that obviously we're doing foods that are low inflammation and don't make you bloated. And to solve the hunger problem, we need to make sure it keeps you feeling full. So fiber is one of the keys, but also like having foods that are satiating. There are some foods that have a little bit less fiber, but they're highly satiating. So that's fine. You know, there's a lot of foods that have a high I always struggle to say this word. It's like the word that means satiation, satiety index, okay? There's a lot of foods that have a high satiety index that are good for you for keeping you full, right? And then instead of, you know, making it hard to maintain, make it easy and effortless to maintain. If, you know, the plan doesn't work, then make sure that your plan does work to generate both short and long-term results by hitting the right macros while hitting all the other, you know, components above. And that's ultimately what we pride ourselves on here at the Modern Muslim Man Method, is creating meal plans that work for Muslim brothers and sisters to actually be able to stick to it long term by fulfilling all the above while hitting the right macros to maximize fat loss and muscle growth and whatever your goals may be specifically for you. And then obviously, lastly, speaking of which, make sure that the meal plan, instead of not being custom to your unique food preferences and goals, make sure that it's customized for your perfect menu that you and your family love. So if you like to eat biryani and halim and samosas and nahari, guess what? We're going to have that. If you like to eat shawarma and makluba, the tricky thing with makluba is because it has lamb, we do have to be a little bit sparing with it, but we can create similar flavors like chicken makluba that hits the macros that we need to hit and hits the calorie to protein ratio and portions that we need that still taste good. So you can eat that every single day, and then you have a cheat meal once a week or however many times a week you need while still making it fit in, where you get the lamb makluba, right? So it just depends. And shawarma, we can make plenty of healthy shawarma and kebabs, so you can eat that literally every single day, all day, every day. Same with halim, same with biryani. We got a million amazing recipes for you. So again, this is how to make your meal plan consistent. All right. So when it comes to exercise, how do you guarantee that you can't stay consistent? The first thing that you should do is set up a training plan that is too hard and that you can't stick to because it's too hard, or maybe it's too easy and boring. Set it up with like really complex exercises that are hard to understand, hard to memorize, hard to progress on, and just way too complicated and hard to understand, right? Get yourself way too sore to where you want to quit every single day. Set it up so that you have a high risk of injury and you're hurting yourself all the time and having to take time off and getting discouraged and losing your progress. You know, make sure that the plan takes way too long, takes way too much time, and is way too many days a week where it's not realistic. That way we can make sure that you don't stay consistent, and then make sure that you feel tired after the workouts and it kills your energy levels, so that negatively affects, you know, your life and, you know, your work and your family and all that stuff. That way we can also make sure that you don't stay consistent. Make sure that the workout plan is as inconvenient as possible with your schedule, your logistics, you know, your setup, everything else, so that you also can't stay consistent. Make sure that you don't get results so that you get discouraged and then you also quit. Make sure that you build the body the wrong way, so you're building a body that you don't like, where your legs get too big or your traps get too big and your shoulders are too small or whatever it may be, whatever proportions you want to build. You know, let's make sure that we don't build the proportions that you want to build and that we build the wrong proportions so that you don't want to continue, right? Make sure you burn yourself out. Make sure that it's not flexible, so that if you screw up, you kind of have to just throw the whole thing away. Make sure it's not custom to your unique body and goals, that you just follow the same thing as everybody else. Well, obviously, before I dive into solutions, that would be a plan that you absolutely couldn't stick to, right? And so that's kind of the magic of this sort of, you know, reverse psychology, is you can be very clear and obvious on what not to do, yet so many of us try to do all these things. So we're in such a rush to get results that we try to do things that we can't actually stick to, only to sabotage ourselves and guarantee that we can't stay consistent. So it's no wonder that if you're watching this video right now, you struggle with consistency, is because you haven't set things up the right way per the specifications of this video. So here's what you should do instead. For your training, if you want to make sure that you can stay consistent, just do the opposite. So instead of creating a plan that you can't stick to, set up a plan that you can stick to, right? Instead of making it too hard, make it easy enough to do consistently, but challenging enough to be fun. And that solves the problem about being too easy and boring too. There's a balance, there's a sweet spot between being too easy and too hard. There's a sweet spot between those things where we're in the challenge/adventure zone. Because if it's too easy, you get bored, you don't really feel like it's working, all that stuff. If it's too hard, you're like, okay, great, I'm sure this is working, but I don't want to do this. You want to be in the middle where it's like, hey, this is working, I feel it working, but it's fun and I don't feel burnt out and I'm enjoying the process. That's what you want when it comes to everything, right? That's how you create sustainability. And that requires a little bit of balance, nuance, and knowledge. But again, that's obviously something that I cover in a lot of my content I can help you with. So again, make sure you watch the other stuff after this where I talk a little bit more about like specific workout strategy. Okay. Another way you can guarantee that you can't stay consistent is make the exercises too complex, blah, 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 all that stuff. So again, the solution to making it easy to stick to is make it simple but effective, easy to understand so you can memorize it and effortlessly execute the routine and just flow through it. Make sure that you are able to also progress where the progression is clear and these exercises are easy to progress on, and make sure that you build long-term habits so you can actually stick to with your workout routine. And then what I'd also add too is switch it up enough so it also stays, exciting and fun as well. Like, don't be super ADD, because then, it becomes hard to understand, it's too complex, all that stuff. Plus, it's not even optimal for your results. You should progress on the variables that matter. But, while establishing that consistency, we also want to add a little bit of variety so that it's also fun, right? And that's how we build the long-term habits that are easy to progress, memorize, and execute as a proper workout routine that evolves over time, right? Now, another way you can make sure you can't stay consistent is get way too sore. The way that you prevent that is slowly build up over time so you don't get overly sore and so that you don't want to quit. And also optimize your recovery through nutrition and sleep, right? And we'll talk about sleep in a second too. If you want to make sure that you can't stay consistent, make sure that you have a high risk of injury. If you want to make sure that you can stay consistent, then what you should do is slowly ramp up the intensity while doing corrective exercises and stretches so we can prevent injury, and then make sure that you're getting your technique reviewed by a professional. So that can either mean you go to the gym with a friend of yours who actually knows what they're doing, ideally with a training certification, just because like a lot of meatheads, they can go to the gym and they think they're lifting properly, but they actually aren't. So a lot of times you'll go and maybe your friend is just, magically injury proof or, whatever, but you are a little more prone to injury. So make sure that you go with somebody who actually knows what they're doing, not just for themselves, but who's helped other people. And of course, if you're a client, you're watching this, that we do technique reviews for you as a client, right? So make sure you send in those technique reviews, so if you're a client and you know that you should be sending in your technique review videos, but you're not, start doing it so we can review your technique and make sure that this works perfectly for you, right? Cool. So let's say that, so again, if we want to not be consistent, make sure that thing takes too long, it doesn't work. If you want to stay consistent, do the opposite of that. Make it time efficient, use shorter workouts that are tailored to your schedule, and that's going to allow you to stay consistent. If you want to make sure that you can't stay consistent, make sure it kills your energy levels. If you want to stay consistent, make sure that the workouts are challenging enough to boost your energy levels using the right strategy, the right intensity, and the right duration. So the thing is, if you train for too long, like if you train for more than 45 to 60 minutes, usually that's going to kind of kill your energy levels. And sometimes I'll push a little past 60, but usually when I push past 60, I'll get a little tired. So I try to keep it under 60 minutes, and you can do as little as 20 to 30 minutes, but whatever it does to give you that initial boost of energy without killing your energy levels. And then same thing with the strategy. We want to use usually strength training over cardio, but again, everybody's different. So we want to find the strategy that energizes you the most and gives you that boost of energy, boost in mood for the rest of the day so that you want to keep going to the gym because it's fun and you enjoy it. And then we want to hit the right intensity where, again, it's not burning you out, but it's also challenging enough that it's giving you that energy boost and that sense of achievement, momentum, happiness, positivity at the beginning of your day or whatever point of your day you need it to ultimately make working out a seamless part of your day that works super well. And speaking of, setting it up with your logistics, you want to make sure that you tailor the workouts to your pockets of time and you work around your time constraints. So in anybody's schedule, there's going to be areas where you have pockets of time where you have time constraints, and we want to use a lifestyle and schedule audit to ensure that we're installing the workouts in the right places and we have enough flexibility to flow it through and around those things and the different obstacles that naturally come up in life. So let's see, time constraints. Okay, cool. And then make sure that you're actually getting results. You want to see noticeable results, both short-term and long-term. And what I'll add to this too is you want to make sure you're measuring the right things, because sometimes subjectively, you look in the mirror every day, you're not going to see a difference because it's small changes over time. But if you measure and weigh yourself every single week and you measure your waist size, your bicep, your chest, your legs, whatever you want to specifically build, then you can see numbers change. And that's objective data that's going to tell you if things are working or not. And as long as we're making sure things are working and fixing it, if it's not each week, you're going to see great results, right? That's what we do with our clients as well. We make sure we're monitoring the variables that matter because that's what matters, right? And that's how we make sure you're getting results. And I'll talk a little bit more about like the lifestyle and all that stuff after this because that's what the next slide's about. Okay. You want to make sure that your training plan builds your body the right way instead of the wrong way. So you want to emphasize the proportions and body type you want to build. So if you don't want to have big legs, you just want to have a huge jacked upper body, then we'll work on that. If you don't want to have a jacked upper body, but you just want to have big legs, then we can do that. Or if you don't want to be big at all and you just want to be small, limber, athletic, all that stuff, then we can focus on building that as well. But you need to make sure that you're working the exact proportions tailored to your body type instead of just the generic routine that some other person's following who has different proportions, different goals, different genetics, all that stuff, right? And instead of burning yourself out, make sure that it's giving you enough progress and energizing you and fun enough that it motivates you to do more and keep going. If the plan is not flexible, you will fail. But if it's flexible to work around stuff when life comes up, then you'll be able to stay successful. And when you understand scientifically how that flexibility works, which is something we teach you over time as well, and that I teach in my other content, make sure that the plan is fully customized and tailored to you instead of just, again, generic, like I said before. Okay? So you can see how there's a lot of reasons why you might have failed in the past with like training plans when you set up the wrong way. So make sure that you review that past slide and then apply some of the content in my other videos so that you can understand how to set up a training plan for yourself that actually works properly. And of course, if you need help, let us know in the comments or in a DM, okay? Now, next up, lifestyle, habits, mindset, environment, and identity. Okay, now these are the things that are not tangible, that like, because nutrition and training is obvious. And if you're watching this right now and you're like, okay, cool, I learned nutrition and training, I'm gonna come off the video now because I don't need to learn about like how to boost my habits and my mindset and all that stuff, but then you still struggle with consistency, especially if you're an ex-athlete and you theoretically know what you should do because you used to be athletic, you used to have a six-pack, you used to be fit, but now you failed to achieve that because you haven't had the right structure and accountability around you, and you've built the wrong habits over the last couple of years that you've been out of shape. Then this is actually the most important factor. And if you've never been in shape before, then it's even more important because you have to actually, build those habits for the first time, which means that you're going to need a little bit of support along that journey, and you're going to need the right structure and everything, which is I'm going to teach you in this, next slide, inshallah. Well, not in this slide, because this slide I'm going to cover what to do if you want to do it wrong. But the next slide after this, I'm going to cover what to do if you want to do it right. Okay, but stay tuned because this is the most important part, whether you've worked out before or not, whether you've been a high-level athlete before or not, whether you're even a high-level athlete now and you want to take it to the next level. Well, if you're a high-level athlete right now, you understand the value and importance of mindset and habits and your environment, as well as your identity and your self-concept if you're a good athlete. So obviously you would probably understand. But again, if you're not athletic, which, most people who watch my stuff are people who are looking to get back in shape or looking to get in shape for the first time, so that's probably you. Well, guess what? This is the most important part. So pay attention. It's less obvious and nobody talks about this, which is why it's so important. This is the stuff that really matters. Most coaches won't give you this for free. And in fact, a lot of coaches that even you pay for don't even know this stuff. So they won't even teach you this even if you pay them, right? So we're going to talk about how to fail, then we're going to talk about how to succeed per the rest of the flow of this video. So if you want to guarantee that you're going to fail at staying consistent, don't strategically schedule or structure your day at all. Okay? Make sure that you have zero boundaries on your time and you run your day as chaotically as possible. And you say yes to everybody at work while being super unproductive, getting nothing done, producing zero results, and having zero time at all. And then make sure that you work all day yet get nothing done, so you're always behind on work, so you're always overwhelmed with work, so you have zero time for your family or for yourself, and zero time to work out or meal prep or anything, right? That's how you can guarantee you don't stay consistent, is be super chaotic with your day and have just the worst lifestyle possible, okay? The other thing you want to do if you want to make sure you don't stay consistent is procrastinate as much as possible. Any opportunity you get, make sure that you procrastinate. Tell yourself that you do it tomorrow or the next week or after this trip or after this vacation or after this busy season or after Ramadan or after Eid or after the next Eid or next year or like 10 months from now or 10 years from now. Procrastinate as much as possible and then never follow through on it. So when you get back from the trip, say, no, I have another excuse, right? Make sure you come up with another excuse, another thing to procrastinate on. When Ramadan's over, say, oh, well, then we have Eid. And then after Eid comes, we'll say, well, then I have 3 months till the next Eid or however many months it is, right? 2 months. And then after the next Eid, say, well, it's summer, I'm busy, my kids are here, blah, blah. Come up with as many excuses and delays as possible to make sure that you never actually see success. That's how you guarantee you fail, okay? The other thing you can do is lie to yourself. That's perfect. Lying to yourself is the best way to make sure that you never see success ever, okay? And along that same line of reasoning, be arrogant and think that you know it all instead of asking experts from a place of humility and even investing in help if you need it, okay? Now, again, this is the opposite of what you should do. In Islam, not even he who has an atom of arrogance in his heart is going to enter paradise. So, may Allah make us all humble because, that's something I've really started praying for a lot lately because I've identified some small pockets, astaghfirullah, and atoms of arrogance in my own heart. And I pray to Allah, and please make dua for me and for you and for all of us, for this entire ummah, so we can all go to Jannah, inshallah, that we can all overcome our arrogance, okay? May Allah make us humble. Ameen. And truly make that dua from a place of sincerity and make it into hajj, because arrogance is the worst thing you can possibly have, because not only, most importantly, arrogance is going to prevent you from getting to paradise, but also in the dunya, it's going to prevent you from ever seeing success, from ever getting in shape, from ever being honest with yourself, from ever being able to achieve anything. So may Allah help us with, our arrogance and just making sure that we don't fall into these pitfalls and cobwebs of life, okay? All right, let me make sure that we are recording because this is some good stuff right now. Okay, good. I always get paranoid that it's like not recording. I'm like, oh my God, I'm saying stuff that I really hope goes out there because I do want us to all make that dua together. So please make that dua for your sake, for my sake, for everybody's sake, because it's really important as Muslims that we support our fellow Muslims in this, okay? All right. So anyways, if you want to fail, be arrogant. If you want and go to hell and all that stuff, which I hate to say, but it's true. I mean, it's hadith. And if you want to see success, then be humble, okay? The other thing you can do if you want to guarantee your failure is have nobody in your environment or your life who holds you accountable. So make sure you surround yourself with yes men or yes women. Like make sure your wife never holds you accountable, or your husband, or whoever it may be, whether you're a man or a woman. Make sure you surround yourself with enablers who let you make excuses, who let you fall short on your goals, and who make excuses even for you and let you buy your own excuses and even convince you of excuses that you don't even already have. Like, oh, it's okay, you can do it tomorrow. Oh, it's okay, just have this one thing, I made it for you, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. No, that's a way that you fail. If you want to be successful, surround yourself with people who hold you to a higher standard instead of people who are going to make you fail. But if you want to fail, then make sure that you set up your environment for failure, okay? And speaking of setting up your environment for failure, make sure you surround yourself with other people who struggle with consistency and who are overweight and out of shape instead of surrounding yourself with winners. Make sure you make excuses no matter what. I really got to emphasize that one because that's one of the biggest points and one of the best things you can possibly do if you want to fail, okay? Tell yourself that you have bad genetics and blame everything on your genetics and say it's impossible for you to get and stay in shape no matter what you do, even though you've tried everything, blah, 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 right? Make sure you're narrow-minded and make sure that you refuse to change your habits, mindset, beliefs, environment, identity. Make as little change as possible. Be as narrow-minded as possible and you'll guarantee your failure. Make sure that you never reflect on why it's important to you. That way, fitness always stays as a minimal priority to you so you can never stay consistent. That's how we guarantee you fail, staying consistent. Make sure you sleep as little as possible. Like, let's say that it's 7 hours till you wake up. Make sure you watch YouTube for 10 hours or 3 hours or whatever so you get as little sleep as possible. It's another way to guarantee that you fail and that your hormones are all messed up from not getting enough sleep, that your energy levels are poor, your discipline is poor, and you feel like absolute junk every single day. That's how we can also make sure that you fail, right? Make sure you blame your family for everything because they make all this food, they keep you busy, you have to provide for them, all that stuff. You have to blame them for everything if you want to fail. And be as stressed out as humanly possible. Get super stressed out. The littlest thing happens, get super stressed about it. Something's coming up in a week, get stressed about it now and be stressed about it for the whole week if you want to guarantee that you fail, and let everything distract you, okay? So pretty funny stuff. When you go through how to guarantee your failure, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, so many of us do all of the above, or at least some of the above, and then we wonder why we can't see success. And as I go through this, it's a reminder for me before it is for anybody. And may Allah keep us all humble and help us be, self-aware and self-reflect and have that emotional intelligence to realize our own flaws and faults and come from that place of humility and then better and improve ourselves. And may Allah make us stronger mentally and physically to help us improve ourselves while staying in that place of humility and gratitude. Inshallah, Ameen. So if you want to succeed at staying consistent, do the opposite. So make sure that you strategically schedule and structure your day so it flows perfectly for maximum productivity, minimal stress, maximum family time, maximum energy, maximum fun and enjoyment, and maximum happiness and mental health, right? That's the best thing you do. And schedule your day around your prayers because subhanAllah, Allah gives us the most powerful schedule for, seeing success. Wake up early, stay up after Fajr, wake up even earlier for Tahajjud. Take Qaylula after Dhuhr if that's possible for you. If you're working a 9 to 5, it may not be, but you do what you can. And then from there, live that, the Islamic lifestyle per the hadith and, the life of our Prophet ﷺ, as well as, the Quran and what has been mandated for us, and you're going to see success. But if you want to guarantee that you fail, then don't do any of that. But again, strategically structure and schedule your day so it flows perfectly for all the above. Right? If you want to succeed, have boundaries on your time. Run your day as smoothly and as efficiently as possible. Be organized and also have systems in place to course correct if you go wrong or you fall off track or if you fail. That way we can get back on point as soon as possible. And say no to people at work if they ask you to do something that would otherwise take away from your main mission and the key leverage points that are going to drive the results and outcomes that you're responsible for producing at work, right? So if you're doing inefficient stuff all day long, wasting all your time, not having time to do anything, and that's making you struggling to stay consistent, then guess what? You better do the opposite and make sure that we're setting strong boundaries and focusing on the things that get you the best results. And make sure you reflect on that too and journal on that and get clear every single morning so you know exactly what you need to do. If you want to see success, make sure you don't procrastinate and you don't tolerate excuses from yourself. When you catch yourself making excuses, make it a point to go extra hard. If you have a trip coming up, use that trip to get yourself into momentum and break your routine into a new routine. Like one of my clients, Naveed, this guy is a beast. 49 years old, 3 kids. He's a high-level executive in a company where he has 6,000 employees he's responsible for. And you know what? When he travels, instead of saying, oh, I'm traveling, better throw all my goals out the window, he says, hey, you know what? I'm going to go even harder while I'm traveling because this gives me an opportunity to actually, get myself into a new rhythm because I'm in a new environment. And then he comes back and he uses that to reset too. And he's constantly improving, adapting, overcoming. This guy travels a ton. I mean, he's responsible for 6,000 employees around the world. So he's constantly traveling, visiting with employees, having dinners, all that stuff. But you know what? At the dinners, he gets healthy food. Like whenever he goes on a trip, he gets the lean shish tawuk chicken, right? With no carbs, any of that stuff. And not that you have to be that strict, but that's the type of mindset this guy has. And that's why he's successful in his career and why he's successful in the results he's gotten in his fitness journey, as opposed to being one of these excuse makers who says, oh, I work 14 hours a day. I have 3 kids. Better just give up on life. No, that is not the mindset he has. The mindset he has is, you know what? This is difficult. I work a lot. I'm on Zoom meetings 14 hours a day. This is hard. This is not easy. I travel a lot. And, I've got 3 kids. But you know what? Because of my kids, I must inspire my children. I'm going to work even harder. That's what he told me when he first started, was his motivation. And that's the thing we constantly use as a motivator, dig deep, but also the personal sense of achievement for himself. He's a high achiever. His identity is, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that's why he's successful, mashallah, by the glory and grace and will of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So may Allah continue to magnify his success and give us all some more success to hit. Ameen. And then even increase all of our success. Ameen. So anyways, the key to that, is again to have the right mindset, right? So when you catch yourself making excuses and going on a trip or whatever it may be, make it a point to get back on point ASAP and use that trip as an opportunity to do better, right? Break those excuses immediately. The next point to being successful is be honest with yourself. Because remember, the key to failure is to lie to yourself and be arrogant. So the key to success is to be honest with yourself and be humble. Accept and seek help from experts. Show up with a student's mind, humble, ready to take action, ready to absorb all the info, and invest in yourself so you can develop elite level solutions with people who are going to be financially accountable now because you paid them to help you get these results. But you're also accountable because you got to show up powerfully as well when you hire somebody, whether it's me or somebody else, right? Have people in your environment in your life who hold you accountable and who help you to hold yourself to a higher standard to achieve your goals, and who also set boundaries with you and make sure that you grow, improve, adapt, and overcome, and don't tolerate your excuses. Now, of course, some of these things may be harder to implement than others, but even if you just implement 2 things from this presentation, it's going to make a huge difference, and just work on the rest over time. You may be stuck with certain people in your environment that make it hard, so you're going to have to just accept that you just have to set boundaries on those people for now, but start to bring more people and install more people in your environment to see success. This is part of why I have a WhatsApp mastermind for my clients, and we do group calls every single week in addition to the one-to-ones with myself and my team, because that allows you to put more people in your environment. They're going to help you to see success. We're surrounded by other high achievers who, despite their busy work schedule, many of the brothers working 80 plus hours a week, and many of the sisters as well, and despite having a bunch of kids and all that stuff and all the other time constraints and difficulties we have as Muslims, you know what? Everybody shows up and does the work and doesn't make excuses and holds each other to a higher standard, which defines your new normal and then allows you to install new habits, new mindsets, new environments, new identities that make sure that you see success. So that's ultimately one of the keys. All right. So that's another key. Surround yourself with people who have overcome their struggle with consistency so you can crush it, win, and generate results. So whether that's a gym buddy, whether that's a program, whether that's a mastermind, whether that's an accountability group, do it all, okay? Never, ever let yourself tolerate excuses from yourself. Make sure that regardless of your genetics, you know that you can always do better, and then always strive to do your best. And honestly, your genetics are probably better than you think, because once you start seeing some results, you'll be like, wow, I actually have better genetics than I thought I did, right? Be open-minded and make sure that you shift your habits, your mindset, your beliefs, your environment, and your identity so you give yourself the best chances possible at seeing maximum success, while also having the flexibility in place so you can always course correct if and when you fail. Make sure you reflect deeply on why this is important to you and keep that top of mind. So why is this important to you? Like, why do you want to get in shape? Why do you want to achieve these goals? Is it because you want to be healthy, prevent yourself from getting like diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure stuff? What else do people have? Stroke. There's a lot of different issues that people have. Is it health? Do you have some of these issues running in your family? You need to dial in your health so you can fix that for yourself and for future generations of your kids and their kids and all these generations of your progeny, your legacy, who you can now shift this generational curse and these habits for the rest of all of eternity. Well, until obviously the day of judgment, inshallah. Well, if you want that for your progeny and at least for your kids, and hopefully the progeny after that, because you pass on those positive habits instead of unhealthy habits and generational curses of diseases and terrible habits and ideas and mindsets and all that stuff, well, then you got to shift those things inside of yourself. So let that be your motivator, because it's not just about you anymore. It's about your legacy. It's about your family. Your family is no longer an excuse. They're your greatest reason, subhanAllah, right? Or maybe your motivator is energy, because you're so tired all day, because you're so overwhelmed, your lifestyle's so messed up, your health's so messed up that every day feels like an uphill battle and you're not getting things done. And maybe you sacrificed your health for wealth when it came to your career, but now your health is the greatest bottleneck on your wealth because you don't have the energy, the productivity, the focus, the mindset that you once had before you fell off so far and let yourself go with your health. And now it's time to get that on point. And not only the physical change, but the mental change that occurs when you start to become this person, this version of you that you need to be to see success. Already that's going to transform your career, your business, all that stuff, because inshallah, as you shift that identity in yourself, you become that high achiever, that full potential 2.0 version of yourself that you were destined to be. Because if you're watching this video right now, is your qadr to watch this and do nothing? No, your qadr is that you found this video for a reason. Allah doesn't make anything happen for no reason. Everything happens for a reason. The reason you're here right now is this resonates with you, which means you need to take action on it and go and get the results. Okay? So I hope that this video alters the course of your future. And anybody who you share this video with, I want that to alter their course of future as well, because that's what this is all about. This is a legacy for me. Inshallah, may Allah make us all successful. Ameen. So no matter what, go and make it happen. Change all these things, become the best version of yourself. Reflect deeply on why it's important. Maybe for you it's confidence. You don't feel happy with your body and what you see. Your wife or husband feels, not attracted to you anymore. I was going to say disgusted, but I don't want to use such a strong word, but whether your partner feels disgusted or just unhappy, right? Maybe your partner still loves you even though you have a belly, but you know what? You know that you could do better and you feel disgusted when you see yourself in the mirror. Or maybe you're single and you're stuck single and you don't feel confident about yourself, and you got to work on those things because you know that despite your career success, you still haven't been able to translate that career success into the, romantic success that you thought it would be. So now it's time to get dialed in with your health and your mindset so that you can be the person you need to be to get married and find the partner that you want to be with, inshallah, if you're single, right? So again, develop those healthy routines, rituals, boundaries, habits, and best practices around your life and around your sleep. I know that for some people, it may not be practical with that optimal 7 hours of sleep a night, but you can still do better than you're doing today. So do better than you're doing today. Use your family as a reason, not an excuse. If your family, your parents or your wife or your aunts or your, uncles or, your in-laws are always making unhealthy food, well, you know what? Make your leadership, take the leadership in yourself to get fit and then lead them, because at first they'll make fun of your transformation, but once they see the results, they're going to be like, wow. Like at first they're going to be like, oh, why are you not eating this and you're eating this? And here's the thing is we create healthy recipes for you to where they'll be like for instance, one of my clients, she had a bunch of her friends' kids over the other day and she made my healthy halim recipe and they all loved it. And it's healthy. It doesn't have all the oils and all the unhealthy stuff. So it's literally great macros and all the kids loved it. So you know what? They're actually probably not going to make fun of you. You think they are, but they're not. And even if they do, well, guess what? In 3 months, 6 months, when they're getting the results, they're going to be like, how did you do this? And you said, well, let me send you this guy, Coach Munir. And there you go. I'll be able to help them too, inshallah. That's my goal, legacy. So anyways, that's what it's all about here, guys. It's about inspiring other people and using them as a reason, because don't you want that success for your family? Don't you want them to be healthy and happy too? Don't you want your kids to be healthy and happy and have a good role model? Well, if you do, which I'm sure you do, then use them as a reason, not an excuse. Come on, guys. Remember the mindset of Naveed, my client who crushes it despite every obstacle against him, because that's his reason is he wants to inspire his family, despite being 49, despite being Pakistani, despite working 80 plus hours a week, despite being on 14 hours of Zoom calls a day, despite all these other obstacles that anybody else would make excuses for, he uses them as a reason to be better and optimize himself. And then make sure you manage your stress and use exercise and walking as a multiple ROI, return on investment, tool to help you handle your stress and get your workouts and steps in. And if you want to get a third return on your investment at that time, bring your family with you. Now you're teaching your family healthy things. You're spending time with your kids, playing with them or doing activities with them, depending on how old they are. And guess what? You're getting that activity in and you're burning calories and you're managing your stress and you're making your life better. So you're bonding with your family and you're getting exercise. So this was a huge presentation. There's a lot more where this came from. I'm going to try to keep these short, but I ended up talking quite a bit as usual. But I hope that this helps you get clear on what needs to change as far as not just your nutrition and exercise, but more so the deeper things like lifestyle, mindset, habits, and environment, so you can create a lasting change inside of yourself. And of course, I'm always happy to help you further. So if you need additional help, just comment down below or shoot me a DM if you want to keep it confidential, if you have questions or if you need additional support or help. And then make sure you share this video with a friend and save it for later when you need help with consistency and you need to be reminded of this, right? These are all in a way Islamic reminders, and there's a lot of, I see this as my da'wah and as, my ability to do barakah for others. And I hope that, anybody you share this with is able to take advantage of it as well and get great results so that we all get barakah, because you're going to get the barakah for sharing it and benefiting them. And of course, I get the barakah for creating the video in the first place. So we can share that barakah by you sharing this with others. So share this with anybody else who you feel it would be helpful for. And then of course, the last component is our program intake is closed this week. We're full on applications for the week, but we may have some spots opening next week. So if you'd like to receive some more info on how the program works and then also be added to our VIP priority list for consultation, just let us know either in the comments or in a DM. And from there, we'll send you the info and obviously our calendar links as well for when that opens, inshallah. But either way, any help you need, comment, DM, share with a friend, save for later. And any other questions you have, any other videos you want me to make, let me know. And inshallah, I hope this helped you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you giving me your time and attention. And I hope that the return on investment you get from that time and attention in watching this video gets you clear, helps you get the results, and changes your life. Inshallah, ameen. All right, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum.